Tomorrow night at the Wyo Theater, you don't want to miss one of the most distinctive female country voices from the 80s. It's Lacy J Dalton in concert. It's an acoustic evening with Lacy. Show starts at 7 o'clock. Go and get your tickets now. They are going fast at wyotheater.com. And guess what? We have the one and only Lacy J Dalton on the phone with us first. Lacy, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, good morning, Jeff. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, wow, what a career. First of all, when I said you were going to be on the show, Leora, our secretary, lit up like a Christmas tree. She put on black coffee, started singing it word for word. So you definitely have a fan there. She said she's going, so that's awesome.
That's a good song for a morning show, Jeff. But you sound all bright and bushy-tailed. What time do you get up to do your 9 o'clock show?
4 a.m.
Well, yeah, you're wide awake, I can tell.
Exactly. I'm just catching my stride right now, or coming down, maybe. But, wow, looking at you, from 1978 to 79, for 20 years, you put out like 15 albums. What was it back there? Was it the label Machine? Did you write the songs? Did they throw you in the studio? What was it?
Oh, well, it wasn't exactly a very good fit for me. I'm kind of a folk singer, and I knew country music because my mom and dad played country music, and my sister. I came from a country music family, but and I always say this on stage. When I grew up and started writing and singing my own music, I strayed from the flock. I was listening to Bob Dylan and Joan Baez and Janis Joplin and the Jefferson Airplane, and so when I was signed to my record deal in 1979, the first one, which lasted quite a long time with CBS Records, I was signed as an outlaw artist.
Yeah.
And that was on the strength of a song that I'd written with my longest friend, Mary McFadden. We wrote a song called Crazy Blue Eyes, and it was a way different attitude for a woman in country music, and because of that, they signed me as an outlaw, and because they signed me as an outlaw, I got to play with what brought me back to country music in the first place, which was Waylon and Willie and the boys and that outlaw music out of Texas. And I really loved that. I still love that music the best of all country music. And because I was signed as an outlaw, I got to do something that a lot of us girls didn't get to do, which was play for long periods of time with people like Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and Hank Williams Jr. for like a year and a half. And I got to open shows and be with the people whose music I like the best. So I had this great career doing that, and then I decided I really wanted to be free to say anything I wanted to say to people, because sometimes the stuff I say it may be considered kind of controversial. I'm not trying to be abrasive, but I'm trying to say, hey, look at what we're doing, guys. You know, look at that. Look at this. We need to look at this. And so I have a new project called For the Black Sheep, and I'll be doing a couple of those songs tonight. A couple of the new songs from that project tomorrow night, rather, at the Wyo. And yeah, we're in Cheyenne today.
Yeah, you're in Cheyenne tonight. If you're listening to us down there,
we're a bit of a jaunt from you tonight, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I played the Wyo a long time ago and haven't been back for jeepers, probably 7 years, maybe longer. And I'm really looking forward to it. I remember the last time we did a show there, we just had a wonderful show. So I'm looking forward to coming out your way. And got a lot of friends in the area. They're coming, which is really great.
Oh, yeah, and tickets are going fast, so you need to go to wyotheater.com and get them. Go see Lacy J Dalton tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Wyo Theater. You mentioned the collaboration with Willie. I mean, you were the only female on the Half Nelson CD. You've done duets with, George Jones, Willie, Bobby Bear, Glenn Campbell, Eddie Rabbitt, David Allen Coe. I had Pam Tillis on like a month or so back.
Oh, she's a great entertainer. She's a great singer. I've not got to hang out with Pam as much as I'd like to, but I really admire her.
But, do you think you ladies get enough credit for what you've done?
Well, I just found out very recently that women are not nearly as well represented in country music as they perhaps were when Pam and I were doing it. I just found out that you guys mostly play the guys, which is probably because you want to attract the ladies to listening to your station. I mean, it's all about that. But and the guys are great. Now, some of these great songs like "Till You Can't" and "I Fell in Love and You Didn't," which I think is the best written song I have heard, honestly, in years. I don't know if it'll get the accolades, but what an incredible lyric that is. I guess there were 4 people that wrote that song.
I Fell in Love and You Didn't. I'll have to...
I don't even know who did it, but it's the most incredible song. It's about you think it's your fault, but it isn't.
Huh.
And I don't want you to hang around for another minute because I fell in love. I don't want you to fake it for another minute because I fell in love and you didn't. I wish you every good thing in the world. It's a beautiful lyric, and I admire that kind of writing, and I admire the kind of writing that was done out of Texas with "Till You Can't." I think that's a great song with great advice for people, and I love songs like "When You're Going Through Hell, Keep Going."
Yeah, that's for sure.
This is not an easy world to live in. I don't know what I'm comparing it to, but people have a hard time. And people are having a hard time right now. People are having a hard time making ends meet, so on and so forth. I did a whole record called, I've always written toward that to try to give people hope and inspiration. And I did a record called Survivor a long time ago. And it was, I can't tell you how many people, I did the song "I'm a Survivor," which I actually didn't write. Other people wrote it. I was trying to write it when I found the song, and I went, I don't need to write this. Somebody did already. So I recorded that song, and I recorded it because I thought people were having a hard time financially. And I cannot tell you the hundreds of people who have written me and come by shows and told me that they were struggling with cancer or some other really dread disease, and that song pulled them through. That's what you want to hear. That's why you do music. That's why most of us do it. We do it for that. And I never actually had that desire to be a star. I knew I had to have a record deal or I wouldn't be able to keep doing what I was doing. But that was never why I did it. It was more of a calling. And it still is. And that's why I am doing it for such a long time. I've been doing it a long time now.
Well, exactly. You've been doing it a long time. You just celebrated a birthday. Survivor was from 1989.
I don't want to talk about that, please. We're going to. You can send me a sympathy card. Don't talk about it a whole lot.
Well, I mean, does that keep you going? Because I mean, you're even doing new music. We've been playing your new single.
Are you playing the devil?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really glad. Thank you. I so appreciate that, Jeff. I didn't know that. I'm knocked out. Thank you. It's it's not easy for us independent artists to get play on major record radio stations like yours, and it's very, 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 very good of you to do that. I so appreciate it.
Well, and it's interesting because you've seen it all and done it all. You mentioned the independent world. We love featuring independent artists on the show. That's why we've been playing your song and we get a bunch of them on. You've had a little taste. I mean, the Josie Music Awards gave you a Lifetime Achievement Award last year. I mean, what do you think of the independent landscape? I mean, it's a very positive community, which is great.
What's wonderful about it is there's nobody editing what you want to say to people.
Yeah.
You can say to people what you think, you hope, or you think they need to hear, or you want to say it to keep them inspired and moving on. Because I tell you, when you are having financial troubles or physical health problems, things get pretty rough. And I think music is one of the ways that spirit nourishes people and gives them the will to keep going and to stay positive and it certainly is true of me. Music keeps me going.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd do if I weren't doing music. I'd probably be doing. I have a foundation since 2003 for wild horses. We rescue them and rehabilitate them and rehome them so they don't have to go to slaughter.
Yeah.
And we're working on that all the time. But that's probably what I'd be doing if I weren't doing music. But I I still have things that I want to say, and people still seem to want to hear them. So it's been a great ride. I can't remember what was it. Jerry Garcia said it's been a long and crazy trip.
Yeah,
But it is. It's been a long and wonderful journey, and I'm still enjoying it. And I'm so looking forward to coming down to Sheridan and playing the YO. I really am looking forward to it because I have a good memory of the place.
Yeah, well, that's sweet. What long, strange trip it's been. That's
that's
you have some ties to the Dead. Didn't you do something with the Dead back in the day?
Well, actually, we have a bass player named Bill Lehman who's often with us. I like it when he comes with us. He was, he had a lot of ties with the Dead and was in the New Riders of the Purple Stage.
Okay.
Who opened for the Dead for years, and he is oftentimes will come out on tour with. He'll be coming out in December with us. But he's a fabulous person to have on the road, and he knows some wonderful songs. There's a song called "Last Lonely Eagle" that I love to sing. That's a New Riders of the Purple Sage song, and they did songs like "Friend of the Devil," which the Grateful Dead made a big hit on. One of the writers, John Marmaduke Dawson, who wrote "Friend of the Devil" for the Grateful Dead, wrote "Last Lonely Eagle."
Wow.
I think he had co-writers on it, but I don't know if you've ever heard the song. I may do it tomorrow night because there are a lot of people that love it. I have a kind of a long show tomorrow night. I'm looking at I have a lot of friends from the area, and they're saying, well, you got to do Boy Blue, you got to do the last Cowboy. What about John Wayne? You're going to do John Wayne? So I've got all this stuff on the list. But I would like to do, if I have time, I'll do the Last Lonely Eagle, and my partner, Eddie Dale, will play slide mandolin on it. And I think most people haven't heard slide mandolin. It's almost an Asian sound. It's real interesting what he does on the mandolin.
And slide mandolin. Wow, I've never heard of that.
Slide mandolin. He plays it. We play John Anderson's song, Seminole Wind.
Yeah.
And he plays slide mandolin on that, and he plays slide mandolin on the Last Lonely Eagle. And oftentimes people are so enamored of the sound that they will say, play another. and so we'll play Last Lonely Eagle. But it's a beautiful song. It's really about the environment. It's really about, take a last flying look at the Last Lonely Eagle.
Wow.
And it is sobering to know that almost half the birds in the world are gone, or a third, I guess it is.
Yeah.
A lot of species are dying out, and we need to know. That's one of the things we need to notice. Exactly. You remember Chief Seattle? Chief Seattle said, when the deer and the bear and the birds are gone, check out what you're doing.
Yeah, we're next.
You'll be next.
Exactly.
I'm so cheery this morning, aren't I?
Yeah. Go and check her out. She'll be bubbly tomorrow night at the WYO Theater. Go to WYOtheater.com, get your tickets. It's Lacy J Dalton. Go check her out, LacyJDalton.org. She's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Her new single, Devil by a Different Name, is out now. You're going to hear it here in a minute. Virginia City, Nevada. How did you find this place?
Well, it kind of found me. I had been living down in California, in the mountains of California for years, and really had a lot of great years in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and that's where I ran into Neil Young and Big Billy Lehman and a lot of the people that I have influenced my music. And what happened was my last producer in Nashville insisted that I move to Nashville. And so I and 5 dogs and 4 horses and a husband at that time moved to Nashville, and I was there for 8 of the longest years of my life, and I got so homesick for the West Coast. And I wanted to go back, but when I wanted to buy a place in California, you could not buy an outhouse on a postage stamp in California for less than $450,000.
Wow.
And it's worse than that now. It's actually worse. So I couldn't go back. I had the most beautiful farm in Nashville that you could ever imagine. I had this beautiful barn and a pond and all this wonderful fenced corrals, big pastures for the horses. I had everything I ever wanted, but I was still homesick. There's something about my spirit feels right in the West, and I don't know. I don't understand it. It's just how I feel. And when I went back, I thought, I can't afford to live in California anymore, where my band of 30 years is. I can't afford to live there, but I have to live close.
Yeah.
So I had played all the casinos for many years in Reno, and I made a lot of friends with a lot of the techs there, the people that did the sound and the lights. And I decided that I would try to find a place near up in the mountains above Reno, and that was only a 6 or 7 hour trip down to twice a month to rehearse the band. So that's how I ended up in Virginia City, and mostly because Reno, Nevada sits in a great valley called the Truckee Meadows, and on the western side are the Sierra Mountains, and on the east is a smaller range of mountains called the Virginia Range, where Virginia City is. And in that mountain range, there have been for 100, maybe 200 years, at least 2,500 wild horses.
Wow.
And I'll never forget why I moved there. I was visiting a friend who had a little cottage, a little Victorian house up in Virginia City, and we were having tea one night at dusk, and she had all these candles lit, and it was really great, and all of a sudden I heard this sound. And I asked her, I said, Elaine, what's that noise? What am I hearing? And she put her finger up in the air. She pointed up in the air, and she said, that's a horse coming. We have wild horses here. And this little herd of 3 or 4 horses walked up this E Street in Virginia City, Nevada, where we were. And I thought, if those horses can be wild and free in Virginia City, Nevada, maybe I can too. And so that's how I ended up in Nevada.
Wow. And the wild horses hanging out in her yard. Go and check it out. Let 'em Run Foundation is Lacy's foundation she's been doing the last 20 years. I mean, you were born Jill Byram. You put out an album with Jill Croston.
That was my married name. My son's father, who unfortunately had a very bad swimming accident and was totally paralyzed. He was quadriplegic, and he lived 3 years. And I brought him home from the hospital along with our son at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And we were in L.A. at that time because he had to be near a spinal cord hospital, and we were near the very famous Rancho Los Amigos and also the Long Beach Veterans Hospital. So I had to be down there for a while, and then I got very, very homesick for the rural places in the mountains. I'm not a good city person. I like to live, I like to live.
That's why she likes Wyoming.
I do like it. I love it here. The wide open spaces. It's beautiful here. I think there are more antelope here than humans, though, I got to say.
Oh, there definitely is more antelope than humans in Wyoming.
Well, Tony Martolio, who's one of the people that we are visiting out here from Cody, and his brother, Larry Martolio, is from your town.
Yeah.
And it was really Tony that said he thinks there are more antelope than people in Wyoming. And I was driving down, seeing these beautiful herds, and we saw deer. I mean, it's so nice where there are these wide open spaces, and it's why I love the West.
Yeah.
They're just wide open spaces. The air is still clean. The water's cleaner. There's just something. I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and it's very beautiful there. It's not that it isn't beautiful, but it is very, very populated.
Yeah.
And California is now too populated. I love Northern California, but I could never live there again because there are just too many people and too many cars. It's astonishing from when I lived there, 30 years ago to what it is now. And even Reno, which is I'm only about 24 minutes from the Reno airport. Up near Virginia City in Nevada. I'm about 8 minutes down the road from Virginia City in a place called the Highland Ranches. And I looked for 3 years to find this house. So I wanted to find a house where if I had a dog, I thought when I retired I would do dog rescue.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find a place where I could have some horses and have a dog rescue where it wouldn't bother the neighbors. If the dogs were,
The dogs are barking all night.
well, you don't know what strange dogs are going to do. I guess now you can get bark collars, and they're kind of they're compassionate, and they don't have that problem. But back then, I needed to find a place that had enough room where I could have that, and where I had to check with all the neighbors whenever I found a house I liked to see if they would be opposed, because you had to have permission from your neighbors on each side and behind you if you were going to do something like the dog rescue. And I really thought that's what I would be doing when I retired. Of course, I never retired.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you got to retire.
Well, if you pick the wrong husband for a business manager, and he promises you that if you should ever split up, of course, he never thought that we ever would. I didn't. And, he says, don't you worry, if we split up, I'll give you the business. Well, sir, he gave me the business. So that was some pretty serious recovery time too. When your bank accounts get cleaned out and you have $6 left in the bank, you begin to get really creative about going back to work and not thinking about retiring.
Exactly.
And I probably never will retire as long as I still have my voice and my brain. I'll do this because I love it, I enjoy it, and I think it serves people. I really do feel like I have a calling for this. It's not just a job. It never was.
Wow. Well, yeah, and go and check her out. She sounds better than ever. Tomorrow night, she's going to be at the WYO Theater. Go check her out, lacyjdalton.org. She's on Facebook, Instagram. Go to YouTube, watch all of her stuff. She's got just a ton of material out there, all kinds of hits from the 80s. The new one, before we let you go, Devil by a Different Name. This one's a little different twist here, Lacy. Tell us about this song.
Well, it's one of these songs that it was a song that was given to me by Spirit. It was saying, you need to address certain things. We have stuff going on where, the second verse of the song goes, call me left wing, call me right. We are split right down the middle in this fight. Divided we fall. That rule don't change. It's just the devil by a different name, boys. The devil by a different name. And we need to get back to the place where we can talk like grown-up human beings across political lines and listen to each other and respect each other and stop this horrible divisiveness in this country. I know people that can't sit down at Thanksgiving dinner with their family because of their political views, because they're so disparate and divisive, and they fight. Well, we need to not fight. We need to learn how to, we're not ever going to agree. There are certain things we will never agree about because of religious beliefs and just personal things. They're just things we can't agree. Let's learn how to agree to disagree, and let's learn how to live and let live. That's really the message of The Devil by a Different Name. And it does talk about, it says, the third verse is, call me imam, call me priest. We are brothers separated by belief, but a loveless faith is a ball and chain. It's just the devil by a different name, boys. The devil by a different name. And it talks about the color of our skin. Call me brown-skinned. Call me white. It's not the color of our skin that makes us right. And if somebody tells you we're not the same, that's the devil by a different name, boys. The devil by a different name. A lot of us call ourselves Christians, but we're not really walking that talk. If we're not doing the first thing that he said, which was love God with all your heart, mind, and spirit, love yourself and love your neighbor as yourself, and don't be judging everybody. If we're not walking that talk, then we probably shouldn't call ourselves what we call ourselves. Yeah. We should probably learn to walk that talk. And that's what The Devil by a Different Name is about. And I also have another song called Love Yourself that I'll be doing tonight. For one of the first few times, actually. I've probably performed it 3 other times, and I'm going to do it again tonight. But I'm sorry, I keep saying tonight, because I have a show tonight. Yeah. I have a show here in Cheyenne tonight, and I'm probably going to do it tonight, too. But tomorrow night at the WYO, I'm going to be doing Love Yourself as well. And these songs speak to those things where we're not being righteous with ourselves. We have to learn to be righteous people. We don't have to agree, and we never will. But we have to learn how to respect the other person's point of view, at least hear it, at least try to understand what the other person's point of view is, and not just hate each other. It's just crazy. We're not going to get anywhere doing that. If we don't learn to build bridges across to one another, we're never going to get anywhere, and it will weaken this, and it has weakened this country. It's made this country less than it's ever been. From the time of the Civil War, this is the first time since then that we have been so divided, and we need not to be.
Yeah, couldn't said it better myself. Go and see her tomorrow night, Lacy J Dalton. She's going to be at the Wild Theater. Go get your tickets because more than half are gone. Go and get them at wildtheater.com. Lacy, such a pleasure. Delightful. You look amazing. You sound even better.
Jeff, you're all right.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Safe travels.
Thank you enough.
Yeah.
God bless you. Yeah, thank you. I hope I get to hug your neck sometime in real life.
Exactly. Devil by a different name. Go see her tomorrow night, Wild Theater. It's Lacy J Dalton. It's KIX 96.5.